Jim Abbott is a household name to Michigan fans, baseball fans, and even those outside of sports around the country. He's the 1987 Golden Spikes Award winner who went on to be an MLB All-Star and author of a no-hitter, all while being born without a right hand.
And the ground ball to short. Velarde, he did it! He did it! No-hitter for Jim Abbott!
Towards the end of Jim's 10-year professional career, he and his wife Dana had their first daughter, Maddie.
I've never really thought of my dad as famous. It's kind of weird when people ask me that. I'm like, it's just my dad. I don't know. I don't really think about it, but definitely more so that I've gotten here and spent my last 4 years here that I've realized how much of an impact he's had on so many people.
Maddie's mom was no stranger to athletic success herself, having played college basketball at UC Irvine. With a middle name of Destiny, Maddie's future in athletics seemed to be a foregone conclusion.
We watched a lot of games with her growing up, and I probably had her drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit.
I think I knew like the Michigan Fight song seriously since I was like 4. I was like a Michigan football player for Halloween one year when I was like 8, so Michigan has definitely always been in my blood. I spent my summers here, and Michigan has always just kind of felt like a second home.
While playing in high school, her dad and future coach crossed paths in California.
And I remember, out in California, we'd have these huge high school volleyball tournaments all around, and the gyms would just be full of players and balls flying everywhere. And every now and again, you'd see a college coach here and there, and you'd kind of think about, well, what might the future hold? And then one day I saw Mark Rosen in there, and he had the big block M on his shirt and everything.
First time I ever saw her or knew about her was because Jim came up and introduced himself as just a Michigan alum. It was more about, hey, you're Michigan, I'm Michigan, and we chatted. Nice guy, seemed really, but he didn't even really talk about Maddie. He didn't. A lot of dads would be like, hey, come see my daughter. He wasn't that at all. And I actually asked him, like, well, what team she play on? And more of it was just being nice, trying to. And ironically, she played for a guy that was the assistant coach for the national team that I knew really well. I
got to be honest, I was a bit envious, and we didn't know if it was going to be within Maddie's scope.
And a lot of the schools that were actively recruiting her were not academically at the level of Michigan. And I kind of just like jokingly said, Jim, she's pretty good. She could play on our team. And he was like, oh, he kind of downplayed that. And I'm like, no, she's pretty good. She's got some skills.
Was definitely aware that Michigan was probably going to be my #1 choice, whether as a student or as an athlete. And when I had the chance to walk on, I couldn't believe it, and I took it, and it's been the best decision that I've made.
Mark and Lisa Rosen came to our house after Maddie had decided to come here, and they do a home visit with the families, and it was really cool. They came out to California, and we went out to dinner, and they brought up this idea that Maddie was going to be number 14. That was going to be her number here at Michigan, and they said, what impact will you have on the number 14? What legacy will you leave to that number? Someone else is going to wear it after you. Someone has worn it before you. So what are you going to do with number 14? And I've really liked that. I like the way they frame that.
Maddie walked onto the volleyball team and due to some injuries, walked right into the starting lineup.
It was definitely a shock. I remember when Mark announced the starting lineup for the first game my freshman year, and I heard that I was going to be part of the rotation. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But, every single person in this program made me feel so welcome, and I think I got a lot better in that first little initial preseason, and I had to step up really quickly, and it was a great learning experience.
She comes in her freshman year, and we don't really have any expectations for where she's going to make an impact for us. But that was the year that Cindy Zhao was sick as a setter. We were kind of scrambling in the setter position, and we ended up running the 6-2 with Carly Warner and with her, and she started and played in every match in the season. And if we didn't have her, we'd have been in trouble.
She finished second on the team in assists that year as the Wolverines earned a berth in the NCAA tournament.
I will never, ever forget the first time we came down and saw her in the uniform and wearing the Michigan, colors, and seeing her on that court with the block M in the middle, and it was one of the proudest moments of my life and I'm sure Dana, my wife's life.
It's funny to watch my dad kind of get nervous. It's like both my parents were great athletes, and it's funny to see them get nervous and be so into volleyball because they've both performed at extremely high levels, obviously. And it's funny to watch my dad get worked up about like a serve when I'm like, okay, you threw a no-hitter at Yankee Stadium, I'm sure you're probably a little more nervous. But he claims that he's more nervous watching me, which is just funny.
I think there's a sense that you want to feel as though you earned it, you know, and she very much did earn it. She earned her right to be here, you know, her opportunity to be here, and I, you know, that was really important to her mom and I, you know, that she felt like she belonged.
While Maddie dove into her volleyball career without hesitation, she did very much the same academically, where she has excelled. An English major, she's already earned all academic conference honors twice, earning the Big Ten Distinguished Scholar Award as a sophomore.
Academically, I would say I'm almost more competitive. I love school. I'm kind of a nerd like that. To be honest, I'll probably be in school for a lot longer. I'm planning on applying to the Ross Business School and then potentially law school. So I'm going to be in school for a lot longer probably. I've absolutely loved my academic experience here. I've found it extremely challenging. My professors have been great and interesting and smart, and my peers have been just the same. So I've enjoyed my time in the classroom just as much as I've enjoyed my time in the court, honestly.
It's been a college experience that Jim and Dana have taken great care to make sure is Maddie's, and not that of Jim Abbott's daughter.
Jim's always wanted it to be, from day one, he's wanted it to be about Maddie, not about him, and he knows that can be a challenge, and I think he's done a great job of trying to stay in the background and really let this be her experience. And I think it was one of the things she had, a concern she had coming in is, can I come to Michigan where Jim's such an icon, and can I be Maddie and not be Jim's daughter? And you know what, I think because she's worked really hard to accomplish her own things and make her own mark, sure, there's people out there that would maybe ride the coattails of their famous parent. She's the exact opposite of that.
I wanted her to experience it through her own eyes, and I think she has. I think it's been more her mom and I have kind of just, we've visited a lot, we've been here, and it's been great to see her, you know, mesh into the school.
As her on-court career has gone along, her role on the team has changed quite a bit. After playing a lot as a freshman, she transitioned into more of a backup setter role in her following 2 seasons, seeing the court sparingly. But she handled it well, earning a Big Ten Sportsmanship Award as a junior. She was named as one of the team's captains this year and has earned a new role with the Maize and Blue, one which she has fully embraced, that of a serving specialist.
In practice, our passers hated passing against her because she just puts it on them. And we went to her and said, hey, what do you think about becoming kind of a full-time serving specialist? We think your serve is something that, especially given more opportunities, you can really develop. But you know, I think it's the best role to impact our team. And she was like, absolutely.
Every part of the team is needed, and every player has a specific role, and to do that role is what makes a team function and do well. I think if everyone can accept that role, that's where a team reaches great success.
You know, it's a really interesting role, the serving specialist role. People don't understand, I don't think, how difficult it is. I believe it's probably the hardest role we could put any player in a game situation. You know, think about their role. They've got to come in at a moment's notice. They're standing on the sideline. They're not warm. They've got to run into the court. Usually in pressure situations, they've got to put an aggressive serve in, not just a serve, but they got to put an aggressive serve in order to try and get the other team off balance. If they miss their serve, they're right back out. And think about the stigma that goes back. I had one job. I actually talked to her because she's got a baseball background. I talked about it. It's a little bit like being a reliever. And I said, but the problem is the reliever gets to go in and throw 8 to 10 pitches to get warm. Plus they get to throw in the bullpen. They won't let you do that over on the sideline. So you got to come in cold and put up a good serve. And she's really mastered it.
Maddie and the Wolverines are once again having a strong season, spending most of it ranked high in the top 25. Poised for yet another berth in the NCAA tournament.
As a player, I think I've always tried to bring just a sense of positivity and almost gratitude, I think. I'm just extremely grateful that I've had the chance to play here in my past 4 years. I think this is the best university in the world. I think my teammates are the greatest girls in the world. My coaches are the greatest people in the world. I think everyone here is just so special, and I think that I try to bring that to the gym every single day. I feel so lucky to be a part of this team, and it's something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. So I think that was more my goal, to just be a player that comes in every day excited and grateful and just proud to be a Michigan volleyball player.
Maddie, in various ways, has had a very positive impact on the number 14. I think she's going to leave it, hopefully better than it was, and leave it to the next person to be proud of. And I'm really proud of her that she's had that kind of impact.
With the volleyball team for mgoblue.com, I'm Anthony Polidano.